Hi guys, I am going to be talking to y'all about the project number 3, the group implementation guide. Hopefully you have found your group. If you have not, please make sure you go up here under communications and you should be able to see groups. After that, you can indicate, it will indicate which group you are in. Each group has 3 to 4 students in it. You will see a drop box as well as a discussion area where you can chat with members of your group to exchange better contact information, such as some students have had success with a GroupMe app as well as just text messaging and email. So make sure you do know where to find your group. When you're looking at the directions for the project number 3, of course, you'll go to the Getting Started module. You'll scroll all the way down to Group 3 Implementation Guide. And let's just keep in mind that you will be completing an implementation guide for either the 5K or the COVID-19 vaccination program. And so you'll be working, you can see here it says 4 to 5, but you're really going to be in a group with 3 to 4 other students. Working with your group members, you will use and or combine your previous submissions from the 5K or the COVID-19 vaccination program. What that means is you've already completed part of this project. The entire semester is building upon you're obviously learning and building upon your previous knowledge, and you're having now tools in your toolkit to, of course, compile and put into the final implementation guide, either for a 5K or for the COVID-19 vaccination program. I highly suggest talking to your group members about who did the best on the project definition document, as well as the work breakdown structure for the 5K, or looking at the project definition document and the communications plan for the COVID-19 vaccination program on the U of M campus. So make sure that there is talk and collaboration about those, about which one you are planning to create and think out further. And of course, create all the essential documents for the rest of the implementation guide. You can see here, you will be, all documents for the group implementation guide will directly reference either the 5K or the COVID-19 vaccination program. If your group submits an implementation guide for the 5K and includes your communications from the vaccination program, you will receive 0 points for the communications plan. It should be specific to the project throughout all of the documents. So if you plan to do the 5K, all corresponding documents will reference the 5K. Of course, you will provide the cover sheet, project name and class, table of contents. Table of contents should include all of these subheadings, okay? All of the subheadings. You'll be completing a team charter. This is essentially an agreement between you and your team members about how your team will function and operate. This is very real-world applicable. Groups are managed all over the world, sometimes in different time zones. We have obviously a very global world, and in terms of the business world, there are businesses conducted in all time zones, all countries, and you have to work together. And so it's important to establish some boundaries and some operating procedures on how you will meet, how you will move forward, and who will do what. You can see here the purpose statement and team objectives. What are you doing? You are creating an implementation guide. And of course, as we've talked about, the purpose statement is broad, and then the team objectives are very specific. Remember, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. Those are measurable objectives. You can see process roles. Who will do what on the team? How will the work be divided for this project? Team leader, editor, as well as what work will be completed. Who will be completing what work? You can see team meetings. How will the meetings be conducted? What time will you meet? What platform will you use? Decision-making procedures. How will you make decisions as a team? What if there's a disagreement? You need to think through all of these things. These are good discussion points for you and your team members. Team communications. When are team members expected? This always happens. When are team members expected to respond to communications? What is a realistic time frame? If you text a team member on the GroupMe chat and they don't respond for 5 days, is that appropriate? I want you to think through this. Your expectations. How will you expect your other team members to conduct themselves, right? I expect, and hopefully you'll be able to see this as well, I expect you to treat each other with respect and obviously act like adults, right? You're acting like this is a job and you're being kind and considerate of other people's feelings. Absolutely, I always talk to students about you need to play well in the sandbox with others. And teamwork is a test to that. It's not always easy to work with other people, but I have emphasized this over and over in many of my courses that if you are interested in health of any capacity, you will be working with other people. So this is also very real world applicable. Of course, your final letter here in the team charter, you can see the assessment of team effectiveness. How will you evaluate your objectives? If you want an A in the class and your team members do not care about an A, how are we going to bridge that gap? What are going to be our team objectives? If we're creating an implementation guide, well, we should have some measurable objectives of how we're going to create that implementation guide. I highly suggest maybe planning ahead and making it maybe that you're able to get the rough draft submitted 1 week before the actual due date so your editors can make sure that they are able to review everything so it's submitted on time and even before the due date. But y'all think through that, make sure that you come up with a plan for that, and I'm leaving that in your court to discuss. Of course, you can see here, overview of the program, either the 5K or the COVID-19 vaccination program. The project definition document, you have already created a project definition document for either project. I highly suggest using the one that is that received the best grade. You are all bringing something to the table. If one person, maybe no one made a perfect score, that's completely fine. Improve the small, I've always provided feedback on either document. Make sure you apply that feedback so you can submit that final copy. And then if you are doing the COVID-19 vaccination program, you will need to create a work breakdown structure specific to that project. If you are going to go with the 5K, you've already created the work breakdown structure. If it is finished, polished, great, you can plug that in here. You will have already created a project definition document and a work breakdown structure, and you will be left to create the schedule, the risk assessment, the communications plan, and of course, all the formatting. You can see here the schedule. This should be in a calendar format with real dates that include all work breakdown structure tasks, responsible parties, like who is going to actually execute the task, and the communication items. So you will need to complete the work breakdown structure and the communications plan, of course, before you put these into the schedule. You will also need to make sure that this schedule spans the entire life cycle of the project. Pre-implementation, that planning phase, the implementation, post-implementation evaluation. You can tell as long as I can see those 3 phases and it is very clear and concise on when those phases are taking place. When planning then becomes implementation, the actual execution of the event. And then of course, post-implementation evaluation is the very last phase, where you can see, of course, that you are measuring, did I accomplish what I set out to do? So did I accomplish the goals and objectives that I set out in the planning phase? So make sure that that is well outlined, that the calendar format looks professional. And I have absolutely have had students that have submitted a schedule that was missing many of these key elements, and you can see it's worth a lot. It's worth 25 points. So make sure that you do spend time on this. And of course, there is an information and a video about the risk assessment. Make sure you and your team members are watching that and reviewing that and making sure that you understand that assignment there, because you are going to be looking at the risks that could hinder the critical success factors of your project. Of course, as always, to kind of close it out, grammar and formatting, make sure that this looks like a professional document, that you could turn this in, especially in light of the group mentality, right? You have 4 people working on this project as opposed to just you. Make it look polished, make it look professional, be proud of it. You don't want to just do this. This will not go over well at all the night before. It should be in a PDF document, so it's very real world applicable. I have included information on how you can merge Excel documents into a Word document. I have uploaded a video about formatting, a few things just to help you out. It's I believe a brief 2 to 3 minute video. And that is also there to assist you. One last thing, if you scroll up here, you should be able to see rubrics, and you can click on, it will be the implementation guide, and you will be able to see the outline for the implementation guide rubric. I will make sure that it is published so that you can review all the requirements to make sure you have every box is checked. Y'all have a great day, and of course, let me know if you have questions. Thanks.